Good morning, friends. I hope that this finds you well. This is Dr. Michelle Bengtson with another hope-filled perspective. It's holiday time yesterday in America, at least. We kicked off another holiday season. And this is a time of year when many families gather and we celebrate. But I know that for some, it's a difficult time to celebrate. And if that is you, I just want to speak to you today because I know that there have been holiday seasons when I have found it difficult to celebrate. I have found it difficult to be on social media and watch all the happy festivities, watch all the happy pictures of families gathering, when in my heart I found it difficult to celebrate. So I want to speak to you and let you know that I understand, and let you know that God sees you and God is with you and God feels your heartache. As I was thinking about that and thinking about some of my friends who are going through difficult times, who have lost loved ones and who have family members who are incarcerated and who have prodigal children, my heart weeps for them. But God brought me to a verse this morning in Ecclesiastes that I think sums it up. It's Ecclesiastes 3, and it says, "For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to turn away, a time to search and a time to quit searching, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be quiet and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for peace and a time for war." And I thought about that this morning, and I thought, I'm so grateful, because what that tells me is that there are seasons. There are seasons. There are seasons when we will be filled with happiness, and there are seasons when we will cry and we will mourn. But they are seasons. And so while many families are gathered this holiday weekend celebrating, and there are some who are not celebrating, and yet God is there no matter what season you are in. But it is a season, and you will make it through. You know, even this weekend, I was struggling with some of my own issues, some of my own pain. And as I cried out to the Lord and said, I want it to end. I want it to end. Very selfishly, and honestly, I said, I'm tired. I'm weary. I want the pain to end. A good friend brought it in perspective when she reminded me that God does use our pain. God will work everything for good. You know, there's a scripture in Romans 8:28, that reminds us that He works everything for the good of those who love Him and have been called according to His purpose. And sometimes that scripture just sounds like a happy verse in the Bible, right? And when we're going through the deep, dark difficulty in life, when we are struggling with life circumstances, when we're struggling with pain, sometimes we wonder, will it really work together for good? But this friend reminded me of some of the ways that God has used my pain for the good of others. I was in an accident a couple of years ago, a very bad accident, and through that I sustained some injury that still causes me great physical pain today. And because of that accident, this friend reached out to me. That was actually how we met. And she had been in an accident as a child. And had it not been for her accident, she probably wouldn't have reached out to me. But because she'd been in an accident and could relate, she reached out to me and introduced herself. And we've become fast friends. Through our friendship, we've gotten to know each other. And then I released my book, Hope Prevails, Insights from a Doctor's Personal Journey Through Depression. And she got to know my heart. And this book came out. And she has given away many, many, many copies of my book, almost like candy. And in giving away this book, she has offered hope to many that God has brought along her path who have suffered with depression and low self-esteem and despair and anxiety, who are now finding that there is hope for depression. And she now leads the Hope Prevails Bible study with about 15 people who are struggling with depression. And so she's able to offer a biblical perspective that there is hope through depression, all because she reached out after I'd gone through a major accident. So had I not gone through that accident, she wouldn't have reached out and we wouldn't have become friends, and she wouldn't be in a position now to offer my book as a resource to those who are struggling. And then more recently, I was visiting my college-age son about a month ago. And I was in severe, severe physical pain. We had traveled to stay at a friend's parents' garage apartment to get him away from campus. And while we were there, I was in severe physical pain, and I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to take him back to campus. I was in so much pain, I didn't think that I could drive him all the way back to campus and then back to where I was staying. So this friend's father offered to take him back to campus for me. It was quite a sacrifice on his part, and it meant that he would miss church that Sunday morning. But knowing that I was in too bad of shape to do it myself, he offered, and my son agreed. So he took him back to campus, and I rested. I stayed in that garage apartment in bed and rested. Well, he made it back to his home, but he had a little bit of time that Sunday morning. Church had not gotten out yet, the church service that he would normally go to, so he decided to fill up his car with gas. While he was filling up the car with gas, he happened upon a homeless couple, and the Lord prompted him to ask this couple how he might be able to help. This couple had approached him at the gas station and asked for money. Well, he offered not money per se, but offered to help in more tangible ways. He got them room and board in a local facility, helped get him employment. Well, this couple had lost custody of their child. And as a result of getting them employment, they now have the opportunity to see their child that they had lost custody of. Because I had been in physical pain and unable to drive my son, he stepped in to help. Had I not been in physical pain, he would not have stepped in to help, and he would not have encountered this homeless couple, and they then would not have been in a position to be able to regain contact with their child. So while I don't enjoy the pain, it's an example of how God uses our pain our negative circumstances, and he does work all things together for good of others and for his glory. So I don't know what you're going through right now. And it might not be the circumstances that you want to go through. It often isn't. But I just want to encourage you that God can and will work all things together for good. So these holidays might not be the Kincaid picture perfect holidays that we all want to go through. But I encourage you to press in and look for ways that he still does work our circumstances for good and for his glory. And hold on to the fact that it's but a season. In everything there is a season, as it says in Ecclesiastes. It won't last forever. He promises that. So whether you are out shopping today on this Black Friday, or you're home enjoying the company of family, or whether you're struggling to make it through because of difficult circumstances, know that he's with you. He sees you. He loves you. And he already has the perfect plan to bring good out of your circumstances. Know that I'm praying for you, and I'm looking forward to the testimony of how he works your circumstances for good and for his glory. You are loved. May it be a hope-filled day. Until next time, this is Dr. Michelle Bengtson with your hope-filled perspective.